Okay, we are proving step 2. Okay. Step 2, the statement I have written down once again. Essentially what we have is this representation. We have this representation for ft_y. Y is an arbitrary vector, f is this polynomial, so ft_y must belong to wk minus 1. I am looking at a general representation of ft_y. Then whenever I have a representation like this, it always holds. This is what we must show. It always holds that this f divides each of those polynomials g1, g2, etc. gk minus 1, and this y naught has this property that it can be written as ft z0 for z0 and w0. I mentioned that this is T admissibility of w0. W0 is a T admissible subspace of V. Okay. The proof is by induction on K, and K equal to 1 is just T admissibility of W0. For K equal to 1, there are no terms here. For K equal to 1, ft_y is y0, then y0 is ft z0. Okay. That comes. So for K equal to 1, I need to only verify this part because there are no polynomials here. The polynomials gi's are not present. So K equal to 1 is just T admissibility of the subspace W0. We will assume that the result is true for k minus 1. Assume that the result is true for k minus 1. We will prove it for k. We will prove it for k. So consider k greater than 1. I look at these polynomials g and I look at the polynomials gi and f, apply division algorithm. I will just say that there exist polynomials hi and ri such that I can write f as say ft is I am looking at gi of t is f of t hi of t plus ri of t. For every I where ri's are polynomials that satisfy, where either ri is equal to 0 or degree ri is strictly less than degree f. This is by the division algorithm. The claim is that ri equals 0 for all I. Claim is ri is a remainder is 0 for all I. If let us say we have proved this claim, it would then follow that f divides gi. That is what we want to show. The second part follows from admissibility. Okay. We want to show that f divides gi, so we will show that ri is 0. Proof will be by contradiction. Suppose some ri is not 0, we will get a contradiction. Contradiction to the hypothesis that it is true whenever the index is k minus 1. Okay. So we want to show ri is 0 for all I. Let us now define. Remember that I have been given a vector y. Okay. So I will use this vector y and define a vector z as y minus summation I equals 1 to k minus 1 hi of t yi. I know the polynomials h1 etc. hk minus 1 coming from the previous step. These polynomials are known. I define a vector z in this manner. Okay. W0 is T admissible. Each w I is also T admissible. Each wi is T invariant. Each wi is T invariant. Wk is this. Each of the cyclic subspaces is invariant under T. W0 is invariant under T. So at every step you are adding a subspace which is invariant under T. So Wk is invariant under T. So this look at yi, they are taken from I equal to 1 to k minus 1. Can you see that this whole thing belongs to wk minus 1, because wk has this property that wk minus 1, wk minus 2 etc. they are all contained in wk. it is a kind of a nested sequence of subspaces, okay. W1 contained in W2 contained in W3, etc. So each of these terms will belong to Wk minus 1, the last one, and so if you look at the difference z minus y, that belongs to Wk minus 1. The difference z minus y belongs to Wk minus 1. Now if this happens, then we should quickly make this observation. Then look at S z of Wk minus 1. I am claiming that it is the same as S y Wk minus 1. S y Wk minus 1, I have already denoted that by f. So all I need to do is to show that these two polynomials are the same. In other words, I want to show that if x y belong to a subspace W, then little s y comma W is equal to little s x comma W. This is what I want to show. The difference z minus y belongs to the subspace Wk minus 1, but that comes from the definition. Okay, the fact that these two are the same comes from the definition of those sets St. So maybe I will just quickly highlight that. Let us say I have x comma u in a subspace W such that x minus u belongs to W, then I want to show that this S T x W, I want to show that this is in fact the same as S T u comma W. Okay. If these two subsets are the same, then their generators will also be the same. These are the generators. Okay. Let's St x W. Let's say that G belongs to St x W. Then by definition, GTX belongs to W. That is GTX equals W. Now look at GT of u. GTU can be written as okay. I consider GT x minus u minus x. Consider GT u minus x. This is GTU minus GTX. What I know is that this belongs to W. This belongs to W, okay, because u minus x belongs to W. So this belongs to W. So this is GTU minus GTX, GTU minus W, that belongs to W. GTU minus W, that belongs to W. W is in W, capital W is a subspace, so GTU is also in W. The whole process can be reversed. So what I have shown is that, okay, this means G belongs to STUW. See, this is really straightforward, I am just explaining it quickly. G belongs to ST, XW implies G belongs to STUW, the whole process can be reversed. Okay, so please check the details and then verify that since those ideals are the same, the monic generators will also be the same, so I get this. The notation for this polynomial is f, that is what we have here, we have assumed, this is the notation. So I have this. Also look at FTZ. FTZ is FTY minus summation I equals 1 to k minus 1 FTHI of TYI. I have applied FT to this vector. FTZ is FTY minus summation FTHI TYI, that is this. This is FTY, there is an expression from the theorem, from this representation. FTY, there is this expression. So I write this as y naught plus summation I equals 1 to k minus 1 GI of T yi minus summation I equals 1 to k minus 1 FTHI of TYI. This is y naught plus summation I equals 1 to k minus 1 GI minus f hi yi gi minus f hi. Gi minus f hi is Ri. So this expression is, so let me write, I am looking at ftz. Expression for ftz is y naught plus summation I equals 1 to k minus 1 Ri of t yi. Ri is the remainder. Okay, I want to show that each Ri is 0. Suppose some Ri is not 0. Suppose Ri is not 0 for some I. Among all those non-zero Ri's, I will take the one with the largest subscript. Let j be the largest I such that Ri is not 0. Let j be the largest subscript such that Ri is not 0. Then Rj is 0. Sorry, Rj is not 0. And I also know, coming from the condition for each Ri, that degree Rj is strictly less than the degree of the polynomial f. And I go back to this representation for ftz, rewrite it by making use of this j. I can write ftz as y naught plus summation I equal to 1 to j this time, only up to j, that is the largest. After those, the other Ri's are 0. So the summation was only up to j. I equal to 1 to j Ri of t yi. Let me now use a short notation for this polynomial z wj minus 1. I have defined z here. I look at all those polynomials, say some g, gtz such that gtz belongs to wj minus 1, that is generated by this unique polynomial little s. I am calling that as p. P is the monic generator of the ideal, the set of all polynomials g such that gtz belongs to wj minus 1. Okay, with this notation, observed before that wj minus 1 is contained in wk minus 1. See, j is this fixed index such that j is the largest index such that Ri is not 0. So wj minus 1 contained in wk minus 1. From this, can you see that okay, this is always true. From this, can we see that tell me if this is correct. F is already defined as sy wk minus 1. Then this conductor divides P. P is the polynomial that I defined just now. Wj minus 1 contained in wk minus 1, which only means that if you take a polynomial g, if it has the property that gt, if it has the property that gtz belongs to wj minus 1, it will be such that gtz belongs to wk minus 1. Okay, any polynomial that is present in any polynomial g which has a property that gt of z that belongs to wj minus 1 will also be present in this. Okay. From this, it follows that this conductor divides P. The degree of the polynomial coming from this will divide the degree of the polynomial coming from this. The polynomial, the degree of this will be less than the degree of this. The degree of the conductor corresponding to this will be less than the degree of the conductor corresponding to this. In fact, the polynomial f will divide P. Okay, this can be verified quickly. Once you have this, we have the following. If f divides P, then I can write f divides P, then I can write P as f times g for some polynomial g. I look at PTZ. PTZ by definition is FT GTZ. This is GT FTZ, these two commute, and GT FTZ I will write, it is GT Y naught plus summation I equals 1 to J GT Ri of T YI. So, I am using the expression for FTZ here, these two polynomials commute. So, it is G of f of z. So, I have PTZ to be this. Now, what is P? P is P is defined here. P is defined here. P of capital T of z must be in Wj minus 1, that is the definition. P of capital T z, that must belong to Wj minus 1. So, this polynomial, okay, let me write once again, this vector belongs to Wj minus 1. Okay. Look at what you have on the right. On the right, I will rewrite it as GT Y naught plus summation I equals 1 to J minus 1 and then J GT Ri of T Yi plus GT Rj of T Yj, that is the last term. I am just splitting this sum up to j minus 1 and then the last term. We have observed that the left hand side, this vector belongs to Wj minus 1. Look at this vector, that belongs to Wj minus 1, because this is a sum that is happening, the first term comes from y1, the first term has y1, second term has y2, etc. We have just now observed that all these are contained in the last one, that is Wj minus 1. So, this belongs to Wj minus 1, this belongs to W naught, but W naught is also contained in Wj minus 1, W naught is contained in each Wk. So, these two terms belong to Wj minus 1, this belongs to Wj minus 1, so this must also belong to Wj minus 1, that is G of T or J of T Yj, this must belong to Wj minus 1, which means I will now compare the polynomial, G Rj with S Yj Wj minus 1. I will compare this polynomial Grj with this polynomial. This is a unique monic generator of that ideal. Of all polynomials, let us say some L of t, L of capital T Yj belongs to Wj minus 1. This is another polynomial, that is the one with the least degree. So, degree Grj for one thing must be greater than or equal to degree S Yj Wj minus 1, agreed? Grj is a polynomial that belongs to that ideal. Grj is a polynomial that belongs to the ideal of all polynomials L of t, such that L of capital T Yj belongs to Wj minus 1, but that ideal has this little s as the generator. So, that is a polynomial with the least degree with that property. So, I have this. Now, Syj Wj minus 1, come back to this, that is Pj. So, this is the same as degree Pj, the polynomials are the same. For each j, Pj is Yj, Syj Wj minus 1, but Pj has this maximum property that among all the polynomials, tell me if you agree with this. Among all those, see Pj has a property that among all those polynomials, let us say again L, with a property that Ltz belongs to Wj minus 1, Pj is the one with the maximum degree. So this is one such polynomial. See, this means little s of capital T of z belongs to Wj minus 1, but Pj is a one with a maximum degree among all those polynomials. So I have this, but this is equal to degree p by our notation. P is s z Wj minus 1. This is the most crucial step in this proof. Step 2 is the most crucial. Most crucial is these inequalities. Degree p, we are at the last step, a sequence of inequalities. But what is p? P is fg. So this is degree fg. Let me just write down the final inequality that we want. Yeah, by the way, you cannot, don't assume that you can understand the proof of the theorem right here in the class and then it's done with it. Okay, you have to work many of the steps here. Some of the steps I am not giving details. Some of the steps I am giving details here, but you may not be able to understand here. Okay, but you got to go back home, work it out, and then verify that these are all correct statements. Finally, as I said, I want only this inequality. Degree g rj is greater than or equal to degree fg, that is degree gf, product of polynomials. This means degree of g I like cancel, degree rj is greater than or equal to degree f, a contradiction, because the remainders have been chosen in such a way that the degrees must be less than degree f. Okay, I do not have that here, but remember that this contradicting the choice of Ri, in particular Rj. Degree of Rj cannot exceed the degree of f. Contradiction is because of the fact that we have assumed Ri is not 0. Okay, so each Ri must be 0. Okay, so each Ri is 0. That is, f divides gi for all I. We have taken k polynomials this time. You should also ponder over where we have used induction hypothesis. I have not mentioned. This could not have come without the induction hypothesis that the result is true for k minus 1 up to k minus 1. We are proving it for k. Okay, ponder over that. But I am saying that the second step is over here. F divides gi, this is what we wanted to show. We want to show that f divides each gi, and there exists z naught with this property, but then as I told you, this y naught is a vector that comes from w naught. W naught is T admissible, so that part is easy. Okay. Since w naught is T admissible, there exists z naught in w naught such that y naught is ft z naught. So second part is there immediately. That is the proof of step 2. Let me write step 3. I will write step 3 here and prove it quickly. Okay, what is left really? What is left in the cyclic decomposition theorem? In the cyclic decomposition theorem, we have got to show that V is a direct sum of these subspaces, and that the T annihilators of xk, that is those pk's, have the property that pk divides pk minus 1 for k equal to 2 to r. So what is left is that the sum is direct sum. We have already got the sum. Step 2 gives me the sum. I want to show this is a direct sum. It is not enough with these y1 etc. yr. I will define new vectors which will give rise to a direct sum. So I need to prove really independence of these subspaces. And then the fact that pk divides pk minus 1. Then the proof is over, except the last part where there is some uniqueness. I will not prove here. Okay, what is step 3? There exists non-zero vectors this time x1, x2, etc. x r, and the corresponding T annihilators, we call them P1, P2, etc. Pk, such that V is the direct sum, W naught direct sum Z, this time x1 not y1, y2, etc. Pk divides Pk minus 1. This is what I need to prove, that is step 3. So, I will just look at the construction, how to look at how to construct these vectors x1, etc. Proof of step 3. Start with vectors y1, y2, etc. yr. These are coming from step 1. Step 1 gives me these vectors. Apply step 2. Apply step 2 to this vector y equal to yk, and so f is pk. Okay, that is the reason why I have retained step 2 here. Step 2, I told you, essentially is some inference about this representation. If I have this representation, then each of these polynomials gi must be divisible by f, and this y naught has a property. Now, I am going to apply this representation for y equals yk. Now, y equals yk, you go back to this. If y is equal to yk, then this s yk wk minus 1 is pk. That is the notation I used earlier. This is a notation I used earlier. Yeah, that is here in front of you, in fact. If y is equal to yk, then syk wk minus 1 is pk. So, all that I will do is apply this with y equals yk and f equal to pk. So, I have the following. In other words, I am just rewriting this representation. I am just rewriting this representation for y equals yk, f equals pk. So, ft, okay, f is pk. So, pk of t yk, that is what I have on the left, y naught plus summation I equals 1 to k minus 1 git yi. Okay, this gi also I should change. I remember that g is gi's are divisible by f. Okay. So, I will rewrite this. Gi is just f hi, right? This is f hi, but f is pk. So, pkt hi of t yi. This is gi, this whole thing is gi of t. Gi is divisible by f, that is gi is divisible by pk, and we have written down now gi as f hi, f is pk. So, I have this. Let me now define vectors xk. Okay, I will do that here itself. Define xk by xk equals yk minus z naught minus summation I equals 1 to k minus 1 hi of t y. This step is rather similar to step 2. I am defining a new vector xk. I define the vector z there, yk minus z naught minus this. I will again look at, I defined z as y minus something. Look at xk minus yk. Xk minus yk is z naught plus this. Now, this vector belongs to wk minus 1, this is in w naught, it is also in wk minus 1. So, xk minus yk belongs to wk minus 1, and the argument as before. If I have two vectors x and u such that x minus u belongs to w, then those monic generators will be the same. That is, look at little s xk y wk minus 1. that will be the same as little s yk wk minus 1, but this is what I am calling as pk. Syk wk minus 1 is pk. What happens to pk? Xk. Also pkt xk. Without writing the details, let us see this quickly. Pkt xk is pkt yk minus pkt z naught minus pk hi. Minus pk hi plus pk hi will get cancelled. Pkt z naught is y naught. So pkt xk is 0. Pkt xk is 0. Please check this. So xk, the new vectors that we have defined, have this property. This is true for all k. This is true for all k. Now, can you see that this means wk minus 1 intersection z x k t must be singleton 0. This is the crucial step for independence. That is, see at each step, look at the first step, w naught, we start with w naught, then we are adding z x1 t. I want independence, so I would like to know if w naught intersection z x1 t is singleton 0. In a general step, I have wk. Wk is wk minus 1 plus z xkt. I would like to know whether this z xkt that I am adding is independent with the subspace wk minus 1. So this question is important. Is the subspace z xkt independent with wk minus 1? I am claiming that the vectors xk defined here in this manner have that property. Now, why is this true? This is because see, you got to go back and use this condition. Pkt xk is 0 means that this is singleton 0. How? Let us do this quickly. What is z xkt? Z xkt is the set of all gt xk, just a set of all gt xk such that g belongs to ft. This is z xkt. Okay. What is pk? Pk is this. In particular, pk is this s xk wk minus 1. So this is the one with the least degree, which means this g is a multiple of pk. Is that clear? I collect all those polynomials g that start with the property that gt xk belongs to. I have taken this from this. I want to see what happens when gt xk belongs to wk minus 1. If gt xk belongs to wk minus 1, then I have the following. This gt must be a multiple of pk, because pk is a unique monic generator, anything is a multiple. So this gt is a multiple of pk, but pkt xk is 0, so gt xk must be 0. So if gt xk belongs to this, then gt xk is 0. Please verify these. Not immediately. If this belongs to wk minus 1, then this must be g must be a multiple of pk. But if it is a multiple of pk, then because pk t xk is 0, it follows that gt xk is also 0. And so this is independent. So let me remove this portion. This guarantees independence. This condition guarantees independence. That is the first part. Okay. That is the first part, which means what? Instead of y1 etc. yk, I will use x1 etc. xk, I get a direct sum decomposition. The last part is pk divides pk minus 1. That is the last part. Pk divides pk minus 1. How does this follow? What we have proved just now is that use the fact that Pk xk is 0 for all k. Pkt xk is 0 for all k. Now I will go back to this representation. In particular, I will go to this, okay, I will remain here. I will go back to this representation, and then remember that whenever I write Fty in this manner, then f must divide each of these terms. Instead of f, I have Pk. Instead of f, I have Pk. Okay, that is what I have here. So I also observe Pk xk is 0. So I have Pkt xk equals 0 plus P1t x1 plus P2t x2 plus etc. plus Pk minus 1t xk minus 1. All that I have done is to write 0 as a sum of zeros. I can write this as 0 plus, if you want, summation I equal to 1 to k minus 1 Pi of t xi, just to get this similar to that representation. Okay, what is it that we have done? We have done Pkt xk, I know that that belongs to Wk minus 1, and this is a representation. Whenever I have this representation, I know from step 2 that this Pk must divide each of these polynomials. I am through. Step 2, consequence. So I will just write by step 2 Pk divides Pi for all I running from 1 to k minus 1. The complete proof of the cyclic decomposition theorem. Of course, the last part I have not done, the part that these the positive integer r and the polynomials uniquely determine the positive integer r and the vectors, non-zero vectors satisfying the conditions of the theorem uniquely determine the annihilating polynomials P1 etc. Pk. That I am going to skip. Let me look at some quick consequences of the cyclic decomposition theorem. One of the results that I have been mentioning, let me emphasize it once again. Suppose I have V, okay, let me give you this corollary first before stating this result. Remember, we started with this question, given a subspace W which is invariant under T, can I find a complementary subspace W prime which is also invariant under T? The answer is the following. Let W be invariant, I want T admissibility. Let W be T admissible. Then there exists W prime such that T of W prime is contained in W prime, and the vector space V is the direct sum of these two subspaces. So if you take a general subspace, just an invariant subspace, in general it will not work. I have given an example yesterday. If you take a T admissible subspace, then it works. Proof, cyclic decomposition theorem. This is a corollary of that. Start with W naught equal to singleton 0. W is T admissible, right? Okay, can I say this? If W is the whole of V, then there is nothing to prove. If W is not V, apply cyclic decomposition theorem. I will not give the details here. Apply cyclic decomposition theorem, that is, you each time you add a cyclic subspace, remember that each cyclic subspace is invariant under T. So all you are trying to do is looking at W, direct sum the other ones Z x1 T etc. Z xk T xr T. Let us call this as W prime then I know that this W prime is the invariant subspace, and V is the direct sum. Okay. So answer for this question is, if it is not just invariant but also T admissible, then we get an invariant subspace. W prime may not be T admissible, we do not know that, but W prime is invariant under T. This is one consequence. What is a matrix form? Matrix analog, really, matrix analog of the cyclic decomposition theorem is that any matrix B is similar to A, where A is block A1, A2, etc., AR, all other entries 0, where each AI is the companion matrix of the polynomial Pi. How does the proof go? We know that the restriction operator of the operator T to a subspace W, when I write down the matrix of the restriction operator with respect to the cyclic basis, W is a cyclic subspace, that is W equals Z x1 T. When I write down the matrix of the operator T relative to the cyclic subspace, I know that the matrix is the companion matrix of the annihilating polynomial T annihilator of x, T annihilator of x1, xi, T annihilator of xi. This is a basis, collect all such bases, put them in this block form, then this is a matrix of the operator T. Okay, so this is a matrix form, a matrix analog of the cyclic decomposition theorem. This is called the rational form. The above form is called the rational form of B. That is for, if you start with any matrix B, then it can be reduced to the rational form. The construction is by means of the cyclic subspaces. See, there is also a Jordan form, but I do not have the time for that. So all that I will do is, I will give an example, a numerical example of the rational form of a matrix. Okay. Look at this matrix. B is 5 minus 6 minus 6 minus 1 4 2 3 minus 6 minus 4. This matrix has the characteristic polynomial as t minus 1 into t minus 2 whole square. The minimal polynomial is t minus 1 into t minus 2. The minimal polynomial is the product of distinct linear factors. So the matrix is diagonalizable. Okay. B is actually diagonalizable. There is a basis of R3 having the property that each of the basis vectors is an eigenvector. Okay. But I am interested in the rational form of this matrix. It can be shown that this matrix B is similar to the matrix A. That is, you can construct a cyclic basis and a basis which corresponds to an eigenvalue. I will not give the details here. This A is 0 minus 2 0, 1 3 0, 0 0 2. See, this matrix actually can be diagonalized. I am just looking at another form. I can show that this B is similar to A, that is, there is a matrix P which is invertible such that P inverse BP is equal to this matrix A. And what is the structure here? The structure here comes from this first block. This first block is the companion matrix corresponding to the T annihilator of the eigenvector corresponding to the eigenvalue 2. calculate the eigenvector corresponding to 2, call it x1, look at x1 t x1, that will form a subspace. The cyclic subspace, compute the annihilator, compute the companion matrix after the annihilator. This block corresponds to that. No, I am sorry, this does not correspond to that. T minus 2 whole square. Okay, in any case, please verify. This corresponds to a cyclic subspace, companion matrix corresponding to a cyclic subspace. This corresponds to just an eigenvalue. This is a rational form of the matrix B. Okay, I think I will stop here.